All right, good afternoon, class. How's everybody doing today?
Really good.
All right, so today we're gonna have our lesson on soil horizons. Is everyone kind of familiar with soil horizons?
Never heard of it.
No? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand you guys out a piece of paper.
Thank you.
All right. If you go ahead and take a look, there's 6 primary soil horizons. Go ahead and jot down the letter that you would think would be for the 6 of them. Has everyone had enough time to jot down what they think are the 6 soil horizons? All right. So who wants to go over what they think is the first soil horizon? The letter for it. Jessica?
A.
No. Does anyone else want to give it a try? Brett?
Z.
No. Anyone else want a shot at it?
Tracy, you know it, right?
O.
Tracy? Yes. Oh. All right. Does anyone want to give a shot at the next one? Jessica?
Is it A?
It is A. All right. Does anyone want to give a shot at the third one? This one isn't always used in the soil horizons, but if anyone wants to give a shot at it,
E?
yes, E. A lot of soil horizons don't use E just because it's kind of a transition from A and B. Well, there you go. I gave out the last one. So the next one's B. Does anyone want to give the next one? Does anyone know what it is? After B, what would come?
Is it C?
Yes, it would be C. Does anyone know what the last soil horizon is?
R.
R? Yes. Okay, so for those that don't know what the soil horizons usually are, I found a little saying that might help you guys remember it. So it's Oscar ate 11 baby carrots regularly. So it goes through the 6 of them, and it's kind of a little saying that, all right, there we go, and you can figure out which ones they are.
Right on.
So our objectives for today, would anyone like to read them? Brett?
1. Explain a soil profile. 2. Explain how soils within a profile change over time. And 3. Distinguish between the major horizons of a soil profile.
Thank you, Brett.
You're welcome.
Okay, so last class, our main focus was on the soil profiles, and when they're exposed to various layers, like what happens to them. So the differences in soil development are due to soil forming factors. Go ahead and get in a pair and kind of talk about what you would think these different, factors are.
I think the different soil factors are due to the different organic matter that's in the soil. The depth, time,
And weather
weather, you're so knowledgeable about soil. Speaking about soil, is the thing that we're doing this year on Sunday, is that individual? It's individual, right?
Alright, so go ahead and take a couple more seconds to wrap up with your pair. Alright, does anyone want to give some of the things that you and your pair discussed on what you think are some of the soil forming factors?
Well, Brett and I talked about a couple of different factors. He mentioned organic matter, and I mentioned time and weather.
Great, it's great that you mentioned that. Does anyone else have anything else to add on to that?
No.
No? Alright. So the main ones are mainly parent material, the slope, native vegetation, weathering, and climate. So just think you were right on there when you said time and like weathering. Okay, so soil changes over time to respond to the environment. and the environment influences the different factors in the soil. So there's different processes that are classified in it. So the first one that we were going to talk about is the additions, which is mainly like the materials that have fallen onto the soil that add on different aspects to the soil. Losses, which are obviously the materials that have been lost from the soil. And then translocations. Translocations are materials that have been like moved throughout the soil, that mainly is during the deeper sections of the soil, not at the top part. And transformations is the altering of different things in the soil. Does anyone have any question about these main four classification processes on the changing of soil? No? All right. So, back to the soil horizons. Can anyone tell me what the 3 primary soil horizons are?
No.
No? You want to give it a shot, Justine?
Topsoil.
Okay, it's actually A, B, and C are considered the primary soil horizons. These are all part of the soil horizon systems, which the main ones that we're going to talk about are O, A, B, C, and R. Like I said earlier, E is the alluvial horizon, but it doesn't have a main focus on it because it is just like the transition. There's nothing specific to that horizon. It's really just a combination of A and B. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and talk about the O horizon first. Does anyone know what would like to say, what the O horizon would stand for?
Organic matter?
Yes, so the O horizon is with the organic matter. So it's the organic layer made up of primarily decayed plants and animal debris. Would anyone like to give a shot at what the A horizon is mainly composed of? No one?
Topsoil.
Topsoil, yes. Okay, so it is often just referred to as the topsoil. So it is the surface layer of the organic matter. Over time, this layer loses like clay, iron, and other materials due to leaching. So we're going to go ahead now and talk about the B horizon. Does anyone know what the B horizon is? No? Alright, so the B horizon is subsoil. It is often called the zone of accumulation because it's mainly where all like it's the main focus. So it's mainly where you see all the stuff in the soil. So most of like the materials and stuff like that you generally would consider soil to be is in the B horizon. So next we have the C horizon. Does anyone know what the C horizon is composed of?
No.
No? Alright, well C horizon is the parent material. And it's often referred to as the substratum. It lacks a lot of the properties that the A and B horizon, how it's more depth into the soil, and it usually has a little bit of parent material in there. Does anyone know what the last horizon, the R horizon, stands for?
Bedrock.
It is bedrock. So it's pretty much just limestone, sandstone, and granite. It's found beneath the C horizon. Alright, so we're going to make a soil cup today. I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out the stuff. And I'm going to have to need your guys' help on just deciding what to use for each layer. Alright. So first we're going to do the bottom, so bedrock. Out of the ingredients that are on the table, which one would you think would be the best resemblance of the bedrock?
I would say Oreos.
Oreos? Perfect.
I think I got you some students.
so we're gonna go ahead and fill the bottom of our cup, which would be our horizon, with Oreos. Justine, why did you choose Oreos as the bottom one?
Well, the texture of the Oreos, it's kind of, it's hard, not like the Jell-O, so it's kind of rocky.
All right, perfect. All right, what would you guys choose for the parent material, which would be the Sea Horizon?
Maybe the dark Jell-O?
Not quite. Does anyone else want to give another shot at it?
Would it be the other cookies?
It would be. So, if we think back, the parent material, it isn't the main of it. It's still almost at the bedrock, so it still has a lot of rocks and a lot of like harder textures into it. So today we are going to use the other cookies. It's not as rocky, so that's why you have the lighter color, because it does have more of that nutrients in it than the bedrock has. Alright. So now we're going to talk subsoil. Of looking on these that are left, what would you use for the subsoil?
Maybe the dark Jell-O?
It's actually the vanilla pudding. It is not yet, it's not the main like parent material that you see like the regular soil that you have. So we're gonna go ahead and use the vanilla pudding. Thanks for the sound effects, Brett. All right. All right, so next we have the topsoil.
It's the chocolate pudding.
Chocolate pudding, yes.
Oh god, that bad.
All right. All right, and then for the last one we have the litter or the organic matter. We're gonna go ahead and use sprinkles for that because pretty much is everything that's on top. It's a mixture of a whole bunch of different organic matter and a bunch of different types of things that are on there. So we're gonna go ahead and just sprinkle some of this on top of there for that organic matter that you see when you have regular soil, okay? Does anyone have any questions on why these different products were used for each horizon? No? All right. So we're gonna go ahead and do our exit ticket. If anyone else does have any questions about soil horizons or anything else that we've discussed today? No? All right. So on that piece of paper, go ahead and answer these questions and then pair up with your pair and discuss the answers that you came up with. Has everyone had enough time to discuss? So, I'm gonna go ahead and go over our exit ticket just in case you guys do have any questions left. So we use the Oreos because the bedrock is normally known as being rock solid. Not only do the Oreos look more like rocks, but that's why we use that. So what influence does the parent material have on the other horizons? It is weathered rock and partially weathered soil. So that's where the influence is. And then the last question was, why is the subsoil lighter in color than A or O? And that's because it has less topsoil and organic matter. So that's where the color comes from, like all the materials that are in it. So it has less of that, so it doesn't have that strong color on there, okay? Alright, so next class, I'll be bringing in for each of us you guys are each gonna do your own, soil cup demonstration. And I would like you guys to also go ahead and go over everything about the soil horizons, because I will have you guys also write down, why you picked what for each horizons because of the characteristics of that horizon, okay? Does anyone have any other questions on soil horizons?
No.
Alright. Does anyone want the soil cup?